Hello everybody, welcome or welcome back. It's Paula here with Paula's Imperfect Plans. Today I am setting up my paycheck budget for our January 26th paycheck. It is the second paycheck of January. We are bi-weekly wage earners. Oh, shoot. Typically when I set this up, I've been losing my voice for like 4 weeks. I have no idea what's going on, but that's absolutely my only symptom, and it's just annoying is all it is at this point. Excuse me. So we're gonna jump in. So this is gonna be a lot more accurate than sometimes my budgets are, because December was a magic month and we had 3 paychecks. That just moved our January paychecks back a bunch, meaning that by the time this paycheck comes, like, I already know what these bills, like there's no guessing on these. What I am guessing on a little bit is the income. Excuse me. So I know that my income is going to be increased, but I don't know how much, so I'm guessing $1,200. My benefits changed. Like, I added dental insurance and we don't have flex anymore, and our health insurance changed. So I know what the first check is now going to be, because those are consistent from the first check in January, but I don't know yet till I get this check what my normal second check amount will be with all the second check deductions. And then I'm going to plan on my husband's typical. What was his typical? His paycheck was like $10 over the first paycheck in January, and I have no idea why. Even looking at his pay stub, I couldn't figure it out. There was nothing notably different, so I'm just going to figure what it was before that, and if it's more, then that's exciting. But I'm not counting on it, which leaves our expected income at $26.63.98. Okay, so if we go down to our fixed expenses, I might typically do a $200 donation of some sort. For our HELOC, we budget $500. For our cell phone, I budget $197. For our life insurance, several policies, it is $131 per paycheck. Our Netflix is 12. It went up. It is 12. I made a note. 83. $12.83. Our Amazon Prime is $7.48 per month. For our before school program, I'm going to budget. I was budgeting. I'm going to budget $30. Car registration, I put aside $50 for the second paycheck, and then for the internet, I set aside the second half of that, which should be around $30 with this paycheck. So that is going to leave us with fixed expenses of $1,158.31, which is a difference of $15.05.67. Okay, so now we move down into our variable expenses. I don't know. Okay, so groceries, we set aside $280. I'm really just rethinking a lot of things that I do. Eating out, I set aside $100. Beauty, I set aside $50. Drinks is $50. Household gets nothing. Allowance gets $140, which is $70 for me and $70 for my husband, spending on absolutely whatever we want. Work meals will be nothing that paycheck. Family fun, I give $20. $15 goes to car washes. $132, I think, should go to Amazon subscriptions this pay period. And then $60. Oh, I decided not to. Okay, so I'm just going to take massage out of my self-care envelope, and I'm not going to fund it as a variable expense. I'm trying to decide if I move more to that, what works better. But anyway, variable expenses. Variable expenses, $787. Even if we subtract that from the $1,505.67 that we have left, we are left with $718.67 to budget as we move up to our sinking funds. So in our sinking funds and challenges here, Christmas, we put away $25 in a high yield every pay period until I decide that we're going to do something else. I'm going to put away $40 for LP, starting to build that back up again. Travel, this is a 100 envelope challenge that we put in a high yield savings account in a travel or vacation sinking fund. So I'm going to do $44 for that, this paycheck. $20 goes right into the online sinking fund for kids. $100 goes into the online sinking fund for car gas. $25 for vehicle repairs automatically, and then $53 to the emergency fund. We're doing the 52-week challenge forwards and backwards, so that's $53 a pay period. In our project fund, we're going to set aside $250 this check. Google gets nothing. Now that it's January, I'm going to start putting money aside for medical because I'm not going to get Flex. My husband still will have a Flex account. I will not. So I'm going to set aside medical as there will be some out-of-pocket medical costs, and I don't want to solely rely on my husband's Flex when I've gotten used to double that. So my paycheck is going to be a little bit more, and I'm just going to start setting some money aside in my high yield for that. Which should leave, if my math is correct, $120 to put into sinking funds and savings challenges in my cash envelopes. So let's add up our sinking funds. Okay, so that is $717 in sinking funds, which leaves us with $1.67 because we had, okay, so minus $718.67, that's what we had left over down here that was going to go up into sinking funds. So that leaves me with $1.67. So if I come down to other, $1.67 is going to go into my buffer. And actually it'll probably go like this, if I'm honest. If the budget works out like that, I will put 121 in there, which will add up to 718, which will leave me with 67 cents. So I will just put 67 cents in the buffer, which leaves me with a zero-based budget. I'm getting better and better at the zero-based budget. There's a lot less like miscellaneous and whatever. Like I'm really getting it down, getting our spending in a better spot, and just understanding our spending. I think that's the biggest thing. It isn't like not spending any money. It's understanding what you spend and on what, so that you can allocate that money and put that money where it needs to go, or set it aside like in the sinking fund envelopes for things that you do need. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing, is figuring out what you spend and on what, so that you can budget appropriately. Because this budget looks great, but if I have to spend $200 on my kids this pay period because I don't know, somebody needs I don't even know what would cost $200. I don't spend that much money on my kids, but somebody needs something broke and we need a whole new thing for a kid, and there's no money on here to account for that. Then that's kind of where you end up in trouble. So that's why I like having the kids stuff set aside in the cash envelopes, as well as some in the high yield. But just having that money set aside and knowing that we kind of know where our money goes, and I feel comfortable with the amounts that we have in our envelopes, to be able to continue to do the savings challenges to fund those things ahead of time, so that we continue to stay on budget and we're saving, rather than saving down to the last penny. Zero-based budget, but this money isn't gone. Most of it actually, I don't know, if I just look at this really quick. So, well, let's take the total income. So saving 718 divided by 27% of our income is saving for things we're going to buy later. But there was definitely a time where after my bills were paid, everything else would go under variable and be spent, and there would be no saving for later. So anyway, even though they're allocated to different categories, they're still saved for later, and will definitely come in handy. So anyway, that's my little rant. Thank you so much for watching this budget with me, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.